And as an epic pescatarian, I love the fish here. I get to enjoy the fish here. Very good fish here. UK? I can say it now because I don't live in you anymore. Your fish sucks. It's bad. If not for Japan, where else would you have gone to? See, this is a really tough thing for us since we weren't sure. Although I do remember the first time I went here, I was a bit underwhelmed with what's the defining moment that made you want to move to Japan? I think it was in 2018 that was hired by the American government during World War II as an attempt to understand the Japanese people and their mindset at the time, which especially then was really hard to.
Konnichiwa, minasan. Kyo desu. Why did PewDiePie decide to move to Japan? That's the video I'm going to react to today, but before that, guys, just make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Yes, but I am in Japan, I swear. Gundam, very Japan, books, very Japan. They finally arrived, making me feel a little bit smarter. Alright, so I asked you guys to ask me questions about my move in Japan because I figured maybe there are some and I'd like to talk about it, so let's do it. Number one, favorite thing about Japan. It always has to boil down to one thing, doesn't it? As much as I'd like for that to be the case, just to make it easier to answer this question that everyone wants to know, are you moving to Japan? What do you like about it? Well, actually, there's many things that I like about Japan. I couldn't really... Okay, I'm bored. You didn't say one thing. Just say anime. Shut the... It's complicated. I just like it here, okay? What is something you just found out about Japan that you dislike? That's a good question. It's my first month here. Japan can do no wrong. Everything is amazing. I love it. Let me enjoy my honeymoon phase with this country, please. I'm sure there will be things. Oh, actually, I did find it strange how people ride on bicycles on the sidewalk, but now that I have a bike, I kind of get it. How do the people around respond to you guys? Like total strangers, or some of them recognize you? Yes, I still get recognized, but it's usually foreigners living here that recognize me. I've never been approached by a Japanese person. Although sometimes strangers just start speaking English to me, and I'm kind of confused by it. But I do think it's because people are nice and they want to practice English, maybe. I don't know. Favorite food in Japan? Sushi. You can't go wrong with the fish here. And as an epic pescatarian, I love the fish here. I get to enjoy the fish here. Very good fish here. UK? I can say it now because I don't live in you anymore. Your fish sucks. It's bad. What's up with that?
Japan just has good quality fish.
Fish and chips? It's good. That's okay. Other fish? No. How has Japan affected your lifestyle and content creation? Have you been watching my channel? I'm a vlogger now. Thank you for all the support on the vlogs. I really appreciate it. That's just been an undying love and support in the comments. And normally I'm a bit more private and I don't like to share too much stuff. I hardly post on Instagram and social media anymore. But it's been really fun to share this journey with you guys. And all the positivity just makes me want to do more. So thank you. What was the first Japanese dish you ate? I think a rice ball? Tuna mayo rice ball. Can't go wrong with that. What's a new hobby you want to get into? I look forward to build more Gundams while I'm here. I have this one that I bought also 2 years ago. That's gonna be epic. I like building Gundam. It's very fun and relaxing and you should try it. But I'm good on the new hobby front. I'm preoccupied learning Japanese as well. What was the most, oh my god, of course, Japan moment you had so far? I think when we tried to apply for the bank account, I brought a whole folder of paper thinking they're gonna ask me for a bunch of weird papers and I will bring every single paper I have, and that still wasn't enough. So that felt very, of course, Japan. How is the vending machine life? I love it. I love it. I have like 10 different vending machines in my 100-meter radius, and it's incredible. If not for Japan, where else would you have gone to? See, this is a really tough thing for us, since we weren't sure if we were actually going to be able to move or not. We kept thinking like, okay, well, what do we do? We go to here, we're there. And I think it was so stressful because it would always just come back to, but we still really want to go to Japan. Like, that's what we want to do.
Right.
You know, I'm sure there's other great options out there. Japan is what we wanted to move to. Having to prolong the process and making it so difficult to move here, it just reassured us even more that that's what we actually really wanted. People who complain about how hot it is in Japan doesn't know what it's like to live in Singapore. I've been to Singapore during the humid place of things. There was a thunderstorm, so it was super hot. But no, actually, you know what? Some people think it's hot in Singapore and Japan.
Seriously,
But
I'm starting to sweat.
I didn't even notice. Compare Japanese lifestyle to Swedish lifestyle. I could be wrong, but I do feel like Japanese and Swedish people are quite similar in a more reserved kind of way of acting. For better or worse, I feel very comfortable around
say that, yeah.
that kind of people. In America, it's completely normal to just start talking to strangers. That's super weird here, and it's super weird in Sweden. And I do like talking to strangers sometimes, having small talk. I don't mind that, but I feel more safe and comfortable in places like this. I don't know how else to describe it. I see Scandinavian products all over the place. I think they have a similar sort of feel for interior design and furniture and very minimal and aesthetic taste. I like it. The biggest surprise about Japan, even after all your research, nothing has surprised me so far because I get this question a lot. And the thing is, we've been to Japan before. Many times. We would go every single year. We knew what we were getting ourselves into moving to this country, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Hey, Pudes, so happy for you. Does anyone in Japan give you looks because you're a foreigner? People keep describing like the angry look. I just tend to avoid eye contact normally anyway because out of habit of not wanting to get recognized. So I don't really know what the look is that people describe, like that disappointed look. I haven't seen it yet. Did anime introduce you to Japanese culture? I think it probably did, actually. I watched anime a lot when I was 18, but that's not what drew me to Japan. I didn't watch anime. I was like, I want to go to Japan. Although I do remember the first time I went here, I was a bit underwhelmed with how little anime there is. Like, there are places you can go, which is smack full, like Akihabara. And yeah, I guess a lot of bookstores and conveniences, they sell manga, but it's not a thing everywhere. What is an underrated or unspoken about feature of Japan that you really like? It's not underrated or underspoken. I think people still know about it, but people visit Japan to see all the quirky and wacky and all the crazy toilets and the vending machines, the conveniences, the amazing trains and all that. I really like the more quiet love for nature.
I've been saying that for
Japan
years.
And more spiritual side as well. I think it's the softer side of Japan. You know, it has a wacky, crazy side, but also a softer side, which I really like.
Yep.
How's the weather there? It's great. It's nice to actually see the sun. Are you enjoying not being constantly recognized? Do you miss the recognition at all? I never cared for attention. I always smile when I meet people. It genuinely brightens me up. I mean that, and I think people recognize this in my vlogs that I can kind of let my guard down a bit in public, and that's also honestly part of the reason why we like Japan. No one knows who we are here, and I really enjoy that. As much as I like meeting you guys, I do also enjoy that. But also, don't misunderstand me. I always appreciate people coming and just saying hi for a bit. Do you plan on staying in Japan for the rest of your life? Bro, only thing I plan to do for the rest of my life is staying with Margia. So, I don't make plans for the rest of my life. Actually, I will keep lifting for the rest of my life and reading. What's the defining moment that made you want to move to Japan? I think it was in 2018 when me and Marcia had stayed there for a month. And at the end of it, we realized it was such a good time that we didn't want to really go back. And we both just imagined, hey, what if we actually moved here for a while? What would that look like? Would that work? And we started looking into it. A lot of things changed from that moment to where we are now, but I'm just so glad to be here. Are you getting a JDM car or example Nissan Skyline? I love the Skyline. It's a sexy ass vehicle. I haven't seen one here actually, but I did see a Volvo 740 decked out here, and I was like, damn. That's what I should have. I'm not big on cars, to be honest. I know very little, but being in Japan and trying to find the car that I want to buy here has really made me appreciate well-designed Japanese cars. They're just incredible. How is it socially being a resident in Japan? As a foreigner, socially, I want to move, but I don't know. Now that I'm showing this whole process of moving and all that, I want people to be mindful that, yes, it was difficult to move here, especially with the pandemic happening, and I'm sure it'll be easier, but from what I hear, and most people that move here find it really difficult because of the work culture being so much harder than they think, or really struggling because basically just working all the time and having very little money and yada, yada, yada. I don't think my vlogs are an accurate portrayal of what it's like being a resident here. And visiting, though, amazing, and you should definitely do it.
Very fair.
Does Japan feel very crowded wherever you go? No. Not at all, actually. People are always moving. Tokyo is huge, so you always have to be aware of other people around you, no matter where you are or what you're doing. But where I live, no, it's not crowded. If you go to Shinjuku station at 5 p.m., yes, it will be very crowded. But most of the time, ton of space. How much does it cost to move to Japan? Well, for me, it came with a big cost. Japan taxes, it's very strict, and that's definitely something I waived while considering moving here. But I made most of my money. It'd be silly for me to not move somewhere because of taxes. What is your favorite book on Japanese history, either nonfiction or fiction? I read The Sword and Chrysanthemum. I don't know if that's how you say it. It was written by Ruth Benedict, an anthropologist that was hired by the American government during World War II as an attempt to understand the Japanese people and their mindset at the time, which especially then was really hard to understand. It seemed almost contradictory, hence the title Sword and the Flower, basically, Chrysanthemum. How a country can be so hard and soft at the same time. It's two opposites and two contradictions, and sort of breaking that down. Some people say it's not accurate, some people say it is. I just found it really interesting because it's generally based on a really, really old mindset. Obviously, things are different, and they got so mad at me for saying that I don't know Japanese fluently, or like I don't know any Japanese, I said, which wasn't true. It's not true. I just kind of feel like it doesn't come naturally to me learning Japanese, and I'd rather downplay how much I've actually spent trying to learn Japanese and surprise people, as opposed to saying, yes, I've studied so much, but then I can hardly get a sentence out or something like that. And also, like I mentioned in my vlog, people say like, oh, I speak a little bit of English, and then they're fluent here. It's just kind of odd to me. So at first, people ask if I speak Japanese. I would also say a little, and then it's like, oh god, I don't speak a little. This is impossible. I saw on my Reddit, someone was just making a joke that, oh, he had 3 years to wait to move to Japan, and he didn't learn the language. He just posted a bunch of memes or something like that. The thing is, and I think people don't realize it, since this process was so difficult for so long, we didn't think we would actually be going. I was actually sure that we weren't going to go for a while, so I kind of stopped learning Japanese because I thought, well, what's the point? And if we do end up going, I'm just going to learn quicker if I'm actually there. But after a while, I decided, you know what? I actually really enjoy studying Japanese. I think it's really fun. I read all these things about how good it is for your brain to learn a new language, and it's really healthy for you to do. So I thought, you know, even if we don't end up moving to Japan, I actually still want to learn Japanese because I enjoy doing it. So I would actually recommend people to learn language, not to, I know that sounds preachy for someone that hasn't even learned the damn language yet, but it's fun. I like it. I'm not good, like I said, it doesn't come naturally at all to me. It's completely different than learning a Western language, I think, but it's a challenge, and I'm not giving up. I started language barrier when having a casual conversation, like asking for directions. What kind of shocked me right away is that people speak very fast. And even words that I do know, I hear them say it, and it doesn't register right away, so it takes me a while. So yeah, it's difficult. Are you planning to see the real-life Gundam in Japan? Yeah, I know they're taking it down in Yokohama, so I really want to see it first. There's another one in Odaiba as well, which I've seen. Is super cool. But the Yokohama one is supposed to move, which I want to see the moving one. That's the only reason I came to Japan. If you raised your kids in Japan, what do you think the first language would be? Oh god, that is a weird one to think about. Guess it would speak Japanese if they went to school, but then they would speak English with us. And Japanese, and Swedish, and Italian. This poor child.
Interesting video. I see it's more just a questionnaire about his experience in Japan. I thought it was pretty cool. But let me know what you guys thought about his answers in the comment section below. So if you guys found the video interesting, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Honto, arigatou gozaimasu, mina. 気をつけて。じゃあね。